See how well this works. I need to change. There we go. Okay, so I'm live on Twitch. But not live on. Seems like that's probably the problem. How do I... Well, I doubt that's gonna fix it. Oh, that did fix it. Hey, would you look at that? Although it doesn't look like... There it is. Surprised how easy that was to do. Okay, so now the issue would just be... How do I see my own... I'll need to make sure to mute myself. There we go. Okay, now what I want to see, come over here. And then we're going to... Okay. I suppose I can also just look at this after the fact too, make sure everything's going well, but... There we go. Oh, I don't know how to do chat. Well, we'll figure that out some other time, by which I mean we probably won't ever. Anyway, welcome back to Baldur's Gate. My name's Baldur. That one's Gate. This one's 3. That one's the placard that it's on. So, we need to go and investigate the strange sigil, the glyph that's over there.
Should mind my step.
But I think we'll be good from there. As you can tell, I have the character that I always started out with. We have always, Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia. It has never been at war with East Asia. So we're going to continue. Apparently, I read that the origin characters in this game are a lot more fleshed out than the ones in Divinity. So, I'm going through... I've learned a lot. I saw a video... Yeah, that looks like it's working well. We'll go ahead and pause that. I don't need to see that. So, I saw a video that was showing... Well, first off, I went back and I killed... If you go to the ship when you're supposed to escape, that big guy that the Mind Flayer is holding off, if you kill him, you get an achievement, but you also get a sword, which is this. It's a very powerful sword. So I went ahead and did that. I wasn't able to kill his 2 henchmen that came afterwards. I really would have loved to, but that ended up making me a slightly higher level. It gave me more experience than the last time I was on stream. So Lazel will be using that. I've also done my best to organize my inventory. My character proper will have my healing potions, my revive scrolls, things that you apply to your weapons, and crafting materials. Lazel will have all the things basically that I need to sell because she has the most strength out of everyone. Shadowheart will have the spells that I can cast. And Asterion, for however long he's with us, will have the throwable items. He's really good at lockpicking things, so I just gave him all of our lockpicking stuff. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that I changed Shadowheart's abilities. I was hoping that would make this bigger, it didn't. And also because I'm paranoid, I just need to make sure. Yep, still going strong. So, I changed her abilities. She now has, this one should be, oh, I use this one because it's a bonus action. It doesn't heal as much, but it has more range. And it also isn't a primary action. I haven't actually used this because my character, let me show you my character really quickly actually. So he is a,
Breathe deep and move.
let's move away from the background noise so I can talk. So, he is a high elf. I did that because he gets a free cantrip. I was going to make a rogue, but honestly, rogues kinda suck. Like, a lot. The only thing that they actually get, that I've seen, is this sneak attack. But this sucks, because it requires another person. Everyone else is able to stand on their own and fight and be fine, but the rogue requires you to have advantage against someone. How do you get advantage? As far as I'm aware, mostly, primarily, by having an ally surrounding, or an ally near another enemy, which means that rogues don't stand on their own. I like the idea of being able to use dash and hide and disengage. I like the idea of being able to go and attack the backlines, but the rogue in this game doesn't seem like that's what they're built for, which is disappointing. So instead, I looked and looked, and I decided to be a sorcerer. So for my cantrip, I got minor illusion. I understand now that cantrips are meant to be your primary damage source if you're not a melee person. You're not supposed to be using your actual spells. Oops. Your actual spells as often. You should be using your cantrips where possible. So I went ahead and I got the cantrip. I was going to do the wood elf because they give you more distance, but that's back when I was thinking of being a rogue. I was also thinking about being a monk because that seemed interesting, being able to just punch people, but that requires you to not wear any armor, and it seemed like it was more of an advanced class than the other classes. It seemed like it was something that was going to require more thought. So I'm gonna go with sorcerer for now. If I ever decide to replay the game, I might try monk or maybe druid or something else like that. So my cantrip is minor illusion. I like the idea of making the enemies focus on someone else while I'm able to go and deal with something. I just like being able to confuse the enemy. I feel like it'd be helpful. This is from an amulet that I'm wearing. My melee doesn't really matter because I shouldn't be using melee, ideally. And then I have my primary cantrips. So I figured I would have half of them be utility and half of them be actual damage. Ray of Frost should be used to slow down enemies so that I can kite them. Unfortunately, this only really seems like it's going to work for melee enemies because a lot of enemies have range. So even if I'm at a distance, like I was fighting the mine things before, even if I'm at a distance, they can still attack me from just as far a distance as I can, unless I activate one of these. And I've gone and I think I understand these a little bit better. I wonder, my only question is if I can have these on constantly or if it's only on during battle. Because if it's on during battle, that seems pretty awful. But like if I can only use this for one battle, let's find out. No, it looks like it's just on. What if I deactivate it? Oh, Oh shoot. I don't have the one that... So now I can cast two of these. Yeah, and that used up one of my... So I have to turn that on per ability. That's a shame. Okay. But now I understand how that works. So that only lasts for one ability. I see. That from a balancing standpoint, that makes sense to me. So the other thing that I got was the, what's it called? Disembodied hand. It just goes around and slowly follows someone and is slightly faster than their fastest speed, and it just crushes them. I figured that would allow me. So I realized that vision, being able to see, it must be what determines how often I'm missing in those past few fights that I was doing. So this thing should be able to go move some barrels around, activate or deactivate lights if I'm trying to sneak around, things like that. I got this illusion spell because I wanted to, rather than the one where I cast it on someone, and this one I can just throw out wherever I need it so that my allies can see more and fight better. It's a concentration spell, so I won't be able to use any others, but I figured that was better than the other one, which requires, I can't see it here, which requires me to select an object. It just seemed like it had more utility. The other reason I picked a high elf was because I like having this dark vision. It's not superior dark vision, which is a shame, but also understandable. And then finally, for my sub sorcery class, I got this, the flight. I know I'm bouncing around, but give me a moment. I figured, so it was between this and Draconic. Draconic gives me 1 HP per sorcerer level, which is nice, but I'm still going to have to put in some points into my constitution in order to survive constitution checks. So, I don't know if I even affect my constitution. I've yet to actually put any points into anything. I'm sure I will eventually, I don't know. But I picked this because now whenever I cast an actual spell, it gives me more mobility. So if these two are going to be my primary damage, then I can still have some damage ones, but that's only for dire situations. For the most part, my spells are going to be used to give me some more mobility and for situational things, because I don't want to use them all the time. So I didn't want to pick only damage ones because I won't be able to rely on them too often. That's why at level 2 I took this chromatic orb, because I can change it to whatever element I need to if I really am having a difficult time with a specific enemy. Charm person helps me whenever I'm talking. I liked that sorcerer goes based off of charisma. I do want to be able to talk to people and persuade them just by speaking to them. This also will help me whenever I'm fighting specific humanoid targets. Apparently don't include things like demons. I think it's only things like elves, humans, maybe halflings, but I don't know. I haven't fought any of those yet. Sleep is just a good spell to be able to have. So the idea is, oh no, I'm being cornered. Someone has come right here and they're attacking me. So I'll be able to either use sleep or maybe charm and then fly off somewhere else. And that way, by the time they wake up, I can hopefully start kiting them again. Those are all my spells. For my stats, I didn't bother changing them. This is the default, what was recommended. Figured that seemed fine to me. I did take Guildmaster because it gives me even more points in charisma, and it helps with persuasion and insight, so I can see if people are lying to me just a little bit. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. So those are the decisions I made, and that's why I made them. Questions? Okay.
Time to press ahead.
So, last time we got through the interior of Fort Joy, we found Withermore and released him. And now, I want to see where this thing leads to. I did find you can drop into the middle of Fort Joy if you drop a stone. I don't think, yeah, it's not going to let me go over there and show you, but you can drop in. Oh, also, because I'm now...
That rope looks unstable somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Because I'm a lot more experienced now than I was before. I saw a video while I was getting this sword. One of the people I was watching, they just put a candle on the ground. Here, I'll show you. They just keep one candle on them. Because what they do is in the middle of a fight, drop it. Come on, don't embarrass me. It's probably because I have 4 candles. Okay, we'll show it with you instead. Drop your 1 candle. And then you can dip your candle, or dip your weapon. I'm so embarrassed right now, please. There. I had to light it. You can dip your weapon into the candle to get free fire damage. There you go. That's just additional damage, and for the most part, you don't even have to spend any movement or time or you don't have to spend an action or a bonus action for it. This is considered a free action. So at any point, if I'm going to melee, I can just turn on the candle, use my bonus action to ignite my weapon, and then attack. I also found out that, and apparently the tutorial showed me this, but I didn't realize, if we're all in the same, when we're fighting, I can switch between any of these characters at any time. It's not that I have to go from one to the next. So, those are the biggest things that I learned. I'm going to turn on the light while this is playing.
You approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
I'm going to touch it. Did it make a duplicate of me?
A hand? Anyone?
I don't know if I have the strength to pull you out. Why would I quiet it down?
Just your average traveler stuck between realms. Pull me out, and we'll get properly introduced.
I also... okay. This is from Shadowheart. I don't see a reason not to use this for every single roll. Because it doesn't cost any replenishable resources. And it's not like it can't be used whenever... like, it's always there, so... just gives me a little bit of insurance in case I get a nat 1. Or lower.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick.
Okay, good. They're not making me do a strength roll. Well, hopefully it doesn't pull me into there. Aren't you the most popular picked origin character the first few weeks?
Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this.
So we got Sassy. I also realized it's probably better if I just click these rather than pressing the button so you guys can see what I'm picking.
A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
I'm sure.
Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking.
Nope.
You were on the Norse Lloyd as well.
Yep.
And I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region.
Mm-hmm.
No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers?
Yep.
It's a process known as ceramorphosis, And let me assure you, it is to be avoided.
I like you
Happen to be
better
a
than...
cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor?
No, we have a
Surgeon?
cleric.
Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt. But I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them.
Is the stream lagging? It might be. I don't know if I'll be able to simulcast on YouTube after all. Not using this method anymore. What's going on? Yeah. I think this stream is lagging too much for my liking. At least from what I can see. Hold on.
As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction.
Yeah.
We're certainly going to need a healer.
We're lagging,
Soon,
so
too.
give me a bit,
How
and I'll
about
turn this
we
off.
Lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together.
Okay. So, let's stop that and delete it. Thought I'd be able to, but I am not. So we'll also go here. I guess I'll just, it's not like it's hurting anything. And that's the end of the YouTube stream. Wait a second, is it still lagging? It looks like it's lagging when I glance over at OBS. And it is lagging a little bit here. Okay, well I'm gonna restart the stream then. Give me a second.